Welcome back to the Deep Dive. I am your host, and today we are doing something highly specific.
We really are. I'm here to help break down the data, and honestly, this is a fascinating experiment we've got lined up.
Yeah, usually we look at these broad topics, right, like history or tech, psychology. But today, we are zooming all the way in.
Way in.
We are looking at a single human life map.
Yeah.
Specifically for you, our listener, Richard Weglars. Richard, if you're listening, we are taking your specific map and layering it right over the energy of today's date.
Friday, February 20th, 2026.
Exactly. And the mission here, just to be clear, this is not a horoscope.
No, not at all. A basic horoscope is way too simple for what we're doing. What we are analyzing today is a vocational blueprint.
Right.
It's essentially the operating instructions for Richard's highest potential, and we are combining that with a tactical weather report for right now.
So it's kind of like the difference between knowing how a specific car is built and knowing the actual road conditions that car is about to drive on.
I love that analogy, yes. The car is Richard's factory settings and the road conditions. That's today.
Okay, so we have a serious stack of source material here. We've got a deep research report on vocational astrology. We have Richard's specific natal chart and a ridiculously precise forecast for February 20th.
Which involves some serious math with asteroid data, by the way.
Yeah, the math is surprisingly intense today. We will get to that math. But first, I really have to talk about this title I found in the research.
Oh, the archetype title.
Yes. The research synthesizes Richard's chart into this specific archetype. It calls him the creative educator of unconventional wisdom.
It's quite a title.
I mean, that sounds like a character class in a high fantasy RPG.
Yeah.
Like, I cast unconventional wisdom.
It really does sound like a wizard class.
Really?
And honestly, it's a perfect synthesis of the data points we have. But before we unpack that whole wizard title, we need to understand the mechanism behind it.
Right, the two layers.
Exactly. We have to separate the two layers. First, you have the natal chart. That is the permanent map. That's where we get the creative educator part.
And the second layer.
The transits. That's the weather report for today.
Okay, let's pop the hood then. Let's look at the engine of this creative educator. Where does this drive actually come from? Because, creative is a word that gets thrown around a lot in corporate speak.
Oh, definitely. Everyone is a creative nowadays. But in Richard's case, it's not corporate speak. It's actually biological. It starts with his emotional engine.
His emotional engine.
Right. In his chart, the moon is in the 5th house. Now, traditionally, you'll hear old school astrologers say the 5th house is just about children.
Really? Just children?
Yeah, and sure, that's part of it. But if we dig into the deeper source material we have here, the 5th house is really the house of aliveness. It's the playground.
So wait, let me back up. The moon represents what exactly? Feelings.
Think of the moon as your emotional digestive system.
Okay.
It's how you process the world to feel safe, to feel regulated. Now, take that mechanism, that core need for safety, and stick it in the 5th house, which is the house of performance, creativity, and self-expression.
Oh, I think I see where you're going with this. It creates a specific feedback loop.
Exactly.
So it's not just that he likes art or whatever.
No, for Richard, emotional regulation literally depends on having a creative outlet.
Wow.
The source material is remarkably blunt about this. It says that if a person with this specific placement isn't creating or playing or being seen, their emotional metabolism essentially shuts down.
So what happens then?
Well, the research says they might, and I quote here, self-medicate with stimulation just to feel something.
Jeez. So creativity isn't a hobby for him. It's a health requirement. Like a diabetic needs insulin, Richard needs to make stuff.
Precisely. It's a literal nervous system requirement. The career translation here is that the work must feel personal.
Right.
He could be a content creator, a storyteller, a creative coach, but it absolutely cannot be sterile. If Richard is in some data entry job where he has to just be a robot all day, his emotional engine triggers a check engine light almost immediately.
Okay, so he has to create to literally function. That covers the creative part of the title, but the full title is Creative Educator.
Oh.
Where does the teaching come in? Is he supposed to be standing in a classroom?
That's where the Jupiter placement comes in. He has Jupiter in the 9th house. The 9th house is the realm of meaning, higher learning, philosophy, publishing. It's the part of the chart that asks the really big questions.
Like, why are we here?
Exactly. What does it all mean?
But lots of people are teachers or philosophers.
Yeah.
What makes him unconventional? Because that was the last part of the title. Unconventional wisdom.
That is the Aquarius twist. Jupiter is in the sign of Aquarius for him. So picture a professor, but take away the tweed jacket and the tenure track.
No tweed. We got it.
Aquarius is the sign of the future. It's technology, rebellion, community reform. This placement suggests a future human style of teaching.
Future human. That sounds like a sci-fi novel.
It does, but it basically means his role is to modernize ideas. It's about bridging worlds. The sources give examples like delivering spiritual or psychological education through cutting-edge technology.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or building online communities around really niche topics like neurodiversity. It's taking ancient wisdom, that deep ninth house stuff, and upgrading it for the modern world via Aquarius.
I really like that. It's like being a bridge between the esoteric and the highly practical. But there's another part of this blueprint that I want to challenge you on,
Go for it.
because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. And honestly, it sounds exhausting from an employer's perspective. The routine rebel.
Ah, yes. Uranus in the 6th house. I knew you'd bring this up. This is easily the most disruptive piece of the puzzle.
Right. So if I understand the source material correctly, the 6th house rules your daily grind, your 9 to 5, your chore list, your health routine.
Correct.
And Uranus is the planet of shock and disruption and freedom. So you're taking the chaos planet and putting it in the chore house.
That is a great way to phrase it.
To me, that sounds like a total disaster. Like if I'm hiring Richard, am I hiring a guy who is going to completely blow up my workflow every Tuesday?
Honestly, if you try to force him into a rigid box, yes, he will blow it up, or he will just burn out completely. This placement fundamentally rejects conventional structures.
See, that sounds tough.
It is, and this is a really big bleed. It's not about being lazy. That's the misconception. It's about being allergic to mindless repetition.
The research mentioned a Reddit thread about this specific placement, didn't it?
It did, and it was fascinating. There was this anecdote from a user who also had Uranus in the 6th house. They described mapping out the perfect, color-coded daily routine.
Oh, man. We've all been there.
Right, and they stuck to it for exactly 3 days, felt amazing. And then on day 4, they just couldn't do it. They started improvising until the entire structure collapsed.
That sounds incredibly frustrating to live with.
It is, until you realize it's a feature, not a bug. That user found that flexible structure or time blocking worked so much better. They basically needed novelty built into their routine.
So it's not that he can't work. It's that the way he works needs to have freedom inherently built into it. He needs the ability to pivot.
Exactly. It requires a radical approach to routine.
Okay, let's synthesize all of this.
Yeah.
We have the emotional need for creativity from the moon in the 5th. We have the drive to teach future-forward wisdom from Jupiter in Aquarius. And we have this absolute inability to stand still in a rigid routine because Uranus in the 6th.
That's the blueprint.
So how does that actually look as a paycheck? Let's move into the real-world applications here.
Well, the research gives us some really clever career buckets. The first one is public-facing creative teaching.
Okay, like what?
I think of a workshop facilitator, or what they call an edutainment creator, someone who makes learning genuinely entertaining.
Which fits that moon in the 5th house perfectly. You get to perform and teach at the same time.
Right. But the second bucket is my personal favorite because it directly addresses that routine rebel paradox we just talked about.
Okay, what is it?
The Neurodiversity Systems Guide.
Wait. The guy who struggles with routines is supposed to guide other people on systems. That sounds completely counterintuitive.
It does, but it's actually the perfect fit because Richard has to figure out his own unique, non-standard way of functioning since the factory standard 9 to 5 doesn't work for him at all. He becomes an absolute expert in hacking life.
Oh, I see.
He is perfectly positioned to create flexible templates for others who also don't fit the mold.
That makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like teaching from the wound. Like, here's how I hacked my life. Let me show you how to hack yours without the shame.
Exactly. He's not teaching people how to follow the rules. He's teaching them how to redesign the game entirely.
That is really powerful. And there was a third bucket mentioned too, the depth specialist.
Yes. This comes from his Pluto in Scorpio placement. We call this psychological X-ray vision.
X-ray vision.
Metaphorically speaking, it's the ability to see what's under the surface.
Mm.
People with Pluto and Scorpio are incredibly comfortable discussing taboo topics, trauma, depth transformation.
The shadow work stuff.
Exactly. They go where other people are terrified to go.
So he's the guy you talk to when you want to get real. He's not doing small talk at the water cooler.
He's the guy who talks about what everyone else is just whispering about. And that connects right back to his Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn provides the grounding force here.
How so?
It says that his credibility comes from lived experience and truth-seeking, not just repeating something he read in a textbook. He has to have lived it to actually teach it.
Okay, I have to ask,
Yeah.
is there a danger zone here? Because we've painted a pretty cool picture of this wizard character, but every map has dragons on it somewhere.
Always. The source heavily warns about escapism. With that moon in the 5th house, if he's not actively creating, he might end up just consuming.
Seeking intensity just to feel something.
Right. Binge watching, gaming, overstimulation. There's also a massive risk of starting a million different creative ideas and never grounding a single one of them, thanks to that restless Uranus energy.
That's the routine rebel acting out again. Like, well, this got boring, I'm moving on to the next shiny thing.
Precisely. And that's exactly why the North Node is so critical here. His North Node is also in the 5th house.
And the North Node represents destiny, right?
Yes, but the experts clarify that the North Node isn't a guarantee. It's an invitation. It's actively pushing him toward visible creative leadership. It's asking him to stand out rather than hide in the back of the class.
So the destiny isn't just to quietly know this stuff. It's to be seen knowing it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have our character. Richard, the creative educator, the depth specialist, the guy who needs to hack his own life to help others. Now let's drop this character into the current scene.
Friday, February 20th, 2026.
What is the actual weather like for our creative educator today?
Today is complicated. The atmosphere is described in the forecast as a blend of deep Venusian warmth and sudden Aries fire.
It sounds like a total contradiction, like eating ice cream in a sauna.
It is a bit like that. On one hand, you have this Venus energy that desperately wants connection, affection, merging with others. But on the other hand, you have the moon in Aries today.
And Aries is all about independence.
Right. Impulsive, independent, wanting autonomy above all else.
So Richard might feel this weird tug of war today. Like, cuddle with me, but also leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing.
Exactly. The reflex is autonomy, but the soul wants connection. But here is where the transit data gets really interesting. The source material dives deep into the specific orbs for today.
Okay, pause right there. For the listeners who aren't huge astro nerds, break down orb and aspect for us. Give us a visual.
Sure. Think of the planets as people in a room. An aspect is basically the conversation they're having with each other.
Okay.
A sextile is like two colleagues sitting at adjacent desks who work perfectly together. Ideas just flow back and forth effortlessly. A square, on the other hand, is like two people trying to walk through the exact same doorway at the exact same time.
It's friction.
It's an elbow to the ribs.
Okay, got it. Sextile equals flow. Square equals elbows in the ribs. So what is an orb then?
An orb is just how tight that connection is mathematically. The smaller the orb, the more intense the energy. And today, the math is incredibly precise. We have what the expert calls a literal laser beam.
A laser beam.
Mercury is sextile Vesta, with an orb of only 0 degrees and 2 minutes. That is almost exact.
Wow. And what do those two represent?
Mercury is the mind and communication. Vesta is the asteroid of devotion and sacred focus.
So those two colleagues aren't just chatting, they are completely mind-melding.
Yes. When they are this tight, it creates a window of incredible potential for hyperfocus. This is the absolute best aspect possible for picking one meaningful task, maybe a piece of writing, a script, a lesson plan, and polishing it to absolute perfection.
So despite that sudden Aries fire making him jumpy, there is this laser beam of focus available if he chooses to step into it.
Yes, but there is a challenger. This is the elbows and the ribs part of the day.
Bring on the elbows.
We also have Mercury in Pisces, squaring his natal Uranus with an orb of just 0 degrees and 15 minutes.
Wait, Mercury square Uranus, so the mind is fighting the rebel.
Exactly. It means severe mental restlessness. It's the ADHD brain moving at light speed. This aspect brings a high potential for tech glitches, misunderstandings, or just feeling like your brain is a browser with 50 tabs open and you have no idea where the music is coming from.
Oh, that is such a vivid image. I hate that feeling. So Richard is basically standing in the middle of this room. On his left, there's a laser beam of pure focus. On his right, there's a chaotic browser with 50 tabs open.
That is the core tension of the day. The source suggests a nervous system check to handle this.
What's that?
If he feels that internal alarm ringing, he needs to do a 2-minute microstep. Put his feet flat on the floor, take deep breaths, and manually stop the spin before taking any action.
That's great advice for anyone, honestly, not just Richard. Okay, let's look at how this impacts his career specifically today. We talked earlier about him being visible, that whole North Node destiny thing. What's happening with his visibility today?
This part is beautiful. Today, the sun is conjunct his midheaven in Pisces. The midheaven is the highest point in the chart. It represents career, legacy, reputation.
So sun on the midheaven sounds like a literal spotlight.
It is. But because it's in Pisces, the theme isn't, look at me, I'm the boss. The theme is soft visibility.
Soft visibility. Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here. In the age of algorithms and everyone constantly shouting on the internet, doesn't soft usually just mean ignored? How does he actually get seen if he's being soft?
That's the Pisces magic right there. It's not about force, it's about magnetism. It's about being seen as a compassionate guide rather than some rigid authority figure.
So how does he use that?
The tactical advice here is to post content that touches emotions. It's not about saying, I am the expert, listen to me. It's about communicating, I feel what you feel, that actually cuts through the noise today way better than shouting would.
I see. It's resonance over volume. I really like that. But let's be real, it's not all resonance and laser beams today. What are the major friction points he really needs to watch out for?
There are three main hard energies to navigate. First, we have that moon in Aries squaring the sun in Venus. This is that tension we mentioned earlier, the I want it my way right now versus I need to respect my partner dynamic.
The classic don't pick a fight just to feel something vibe.
Exactly. Second is Jupiter opposite the sun. This is the I can do it all trap. Richard might feel really expansive and optimistic today, which totally tempts him to overpromise or stretch himself way too thin.
Note to Richard, do not say yes to 3 new projects today, even if they sound totally amazing.
Correct. Just say no. And third, there's friction between Lilith and Saturn. This is a subtle but strong undercurrent of don't control me. It's a intense resistance to rules or routines imposed by other people.
Which goes right back to his routine rebel nature. If someone tries to micromanage him today, it's going to go very poorly.
It will go very, very poorly. But let's look at the flow states, the easy energies available to him.
Please, give us the good news.
Venus is trining Mars. This is incredible energy for creative intimacy and artistic passion. If he channels that energy into actual creation, remember that moon in the 5th house need we talked about, it will flow like water.
Nice. Anything else?
Yes, we have Juno conjunct Vesta. This perfectly supports that laser beam we talked about. It offers a very grounded commitment to deep, focused work.
Okay, so looking at the menu for today, we have deep work, soft visibility, and creative passion. But the side dishes are severe restlessness, potential arguments, and a strong desire to rebel against anyone who tells him what to do.
That's a remarkably accurate summary of the day.
Let's break this down into really clear, actionable advice then. The do's and don'ts for Richard on February 20th, 2026.
Okay, here is the tactical checklist. Do create or post something soft and magnetic. Use that Pisces midheaven energy to your advantage. Choose affection and low drama forms.
And for work,
Do pick one meaningful task and use that Mercury Vesta laser beam to finish it. Completely ignore the 50 other open tabs.
great. Now give us the don'ts.
Don't start fights just to get closeness. That moon square Venus aspect is a trap waiting to be sprung. If you feel friction, don't push it. Walk away and breathe.
Good advice.
And don't send fast reactive texts. With Mercury square Uranus, that scattered aspect, you might type something you really can't untype. Just slow down.
And definitely don't overpromise.
Right. Keep those boundaries extremely clear today.
Now, the source material included something really interesting for the very end here. It's almost a magic element, a specific visualization technique.
Yes, the source suggests using the Archangel Michael protection line.
How does that work?
Whether you believe in angels or you just believe in the raw psychology of visualization, the technique is the same. You imagine a thick shield of royal blue light completely surrounding your energy field. The purpose is specifically to keep the nervous system grounded from rushing.
I think that's perfect for that sudden Aries fire we talked about.
Yeah.
Just imagining that blue light slowing the whole system down.
It helps separate the impulse from the action. It gives you that crucial split second to actively choose the laser beam instead of falling into the scatter.
I love that. So, to summarize our deep dive for Richard today, today is a heart, art, and adaptability day. You have the blueprint of a creative educator, and today the weather is calling for you to use your laser focus, completely ignore the mental static, and lead with true compassion.
And remember, Richard, the chart isn't fate.
Right.
It's just energy looking for direction.
That is such a good way to frame it.
The tension you feel today, that massive pull between the intense focus of Mercury and Vesta and the wild distraction of Mercury and Uranus, that isn't a mistake.
It's not a bug.
No, it is the sandbox. That is exactly where a creative educator learns to master their craft. You learn to teach focus by mastering your own distraction first. How will you choose to use that energy today?
That is a deeply provocative thought to leave off on. The struggle isn't in the way of the work. The struggle is the work. Richard, thank you so much for letting us peek at your map today.
It was a real privilege to analyze it.
And thanks to everyone else for tuning in to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.